Hello from a hospital bed. It's been 4 months. We are back because what else would we be doing? Oh, it is Saturday. I brought her in on Thursday afternoon. So we are on the second full day in hospital, to give you an idea of the timeline. When you see this vlog, when it is finally going live on ParentXP, she will have been home for at least a week, based on what else I've got to edit and post before. So, you know, when you finally see this, she's going to be fine. All right? What is the story, Elin? What is the story? The story is that right now we are giving medicines, evening medicines. It is 7:30. I cannot get anything right, can I? I cannot get anything right. And then I have no idea which one is Silenar and which one is alimemazine. So we'll just... I basically have... Can you guys tell the difference? I have 2.5 millimeters of a completely transparent medicine. One is a medicine called alimemazine and one is a medicine called Silenar. They do different things. She has both in the evening. Yes. So she's having one of them. Silenar is helping with the dribbling a little bit. It's not as effective as a hyoscine patch, which is the plaster Elin used to have behind her ear. But at the moment, you can't get hyoscine patches. They are out of stock nationwide. She's only on Silenar. Alimemazine. Now, alimemazine is an interesting medicine that she only just started a few weeks ago. It is an antihistamine, an anti-nausea and anti-emetic, which means that it is supposed to stop her vomiting. And it has done amazingly well for her in the first few weeks she was on it. She was on it for about 3 weeks before she got sick. And we actually saw a drastic reduction in her day-to-day vomiting, which was a problem because she was throwing up every day, most of what she was eating, and she hasn't put on any weight for several months. So we are back to failing to thrive, my favorite label. So her gastroenterologist prescribed alimemazine to see if it would help her stop vomiting so that we can start putting some weight on again. As I say, it has really worked. It's been really good. It made her quite drowsy, but the drowsiness was decreasing over time, and we definitely saw a marked reduction in the vomiting. But on Wednesday this week, school called Dad and said she's throwing up too much. We think she's unwell. Can you come and pick her up? And at that point she had thrown up 14 times in school. So he took her home and he immediately stopped giving her food or milk or anything like that. And he started her on what's called a fluid challenge. So he gave her Diarrhelite at a very slow pace to see if she would tolerate that and stop vomiting. He also gave her ondansetron, which is another antiemetic, and he gave her clobazam, which is her first step rescue medicine for seizures, and buccal midazolam, which is her second step rescue medicine for seizures and which is quite strong. And she slept amazingly the whole night, so peacefully that he woke up and had to go and check that she was actually breathing because she wasn't waking up. And then on Thursday morning, he kept her on the Diarrhelite, and she was fine, and she was fine, and she was fine, and she was fine. And around 4:30, she started vomiting again. And I got there at about 4:45, and at that point she was vomiting just clear phlegm and clear fluid, but it kept coming. And I was like, I know where we're going with this. And I was meant to pick up both Elin and Alice, and we were supposed to go home. And in half an hour, she went from throwing up clear fluid to throwing up blood. Which sounds really dramatic. She does it every time. Every single time. So we get thick, dark brown, foamy... Shall I be a bit more graphic with this? Sorry, I should have given some kind of warning before I started talking about this. It is vile. It looks awful. It sounds awful. It is awful, but obviously we've dealt with it Elin's entire life. We do this 4 or 5 times a year, so I'm no longer like anything can come out of her body and I'm not faced. So I called hospital up because she has open access for this, but the ward was full to the brim. So we had to go to A&E. So we went to A&E, and then we sat in a room in A&E for a few hours. We got her portacath access, which is that little device under her skin where we cannulate her now. So she doesn't have any cannulas in her arms or legs or hands or feet or anything like that. It goes straight in here. And she got some more ondansetron given intravenously. And that immediately helped with the vomiting. And then we were waiting for IV fluids because obviously at this point she's dehydrated. I don't know, hospitals are bizarre, people. I don't get this. So they have one set of equipment down in A&E and a different set of equipment on the ward. And at this point, the ward had managed to discharge somebody and they were cleaning up this room for us. So we knew she was going to move on to the ward and be admitted. But because the ward has one kind of pump for IV fluids and A&E has a different kind of pump for IV fluids, they didn't want to start the fluids in A&E because then they would have to begin all over again when she came up here. And we were on the ward at 10 p.m. So I took her into hospital, 5:30 we came in, and at 10 p.m. we were on the ward, which, okay, yes, I know that is quick. We have VIP status, all right. We do get to just slide past all the queues, and because Elin is Elin, that was still 4.5 hours in A&E that I didn't need. Yeah, by the time that Elin had all of the medicines she could have intravenously and gotten the IV drip on, and I had given the medicines that she couldn't have intravenously, it was 2 a.m. So, a bit of a rough first night. It was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough first night. Hello, Munchkin. But her vomiting settled very, very quickly. And as for her seizures, they were manageable with clobazam and buccal midazolam. We did not have to go for anything more heavy duty than that, which is great. So seizure-wise, better than ever for a hospital stay. And why is she in here? Why did she go into cluster seizures and uncontrollable vomiting? She has the sniffles. She's got a little bit of a cold, and that sends her into a spiral like this. It happens every time. This is like the only reason we can work out why she goes into these spirals is that she's fighting a low-level virus. And it's so bizarre. Like when she had COVID, she breezed through it, apart from when her temperature spiked and she went into febrile convulsions. That was the only reason she needed to go into hospital during COVID. And I was so scared that she was going to die from it, you know. And then she has a bit of a cold and she's here. Yeah, then I left her on Friday lunchtime and her carer took over for a bit. And then Dad took over from the carer and Dad did last night. And she has been absolutely fine. We've had no vomits, and yesterday we started giving her some of her fluids in the form of Diarylite through the Mickey button and reduced the IV. And today they went to a mixture of Fortini, which is this is a high calorie meal replacement, I suppose, high energy, nutritionally complete. Nutritionally, I have not been drinking, I'm just, me. So a mixture of Fortini and Diarylite. Diarylite is an electrolyte solution, called different things in different countries. And that's what she's on today. And she has tolerated her entire maintenance fluid level, so the minimum amount of fluids to stay hydrated enough. As you can see, she is hydrated enough. Definitely hydrated enough now, aren't you? And she's coping really well. So there was even a little bit of talk about possibly kicking us out today, but Dad said he was not entirely sure just based on timings. And I went, yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. And then I put a hand on Elin and I went, uh-oh. And I got a Tempadot, a little tiny temperature, little paper thermometer basically, and it was 38.9. So you were having quite a high fever, weren't you? So we gave some paracetamol and put a fan in the room. which is still running actually, so if there's background noise I do apologize, but it's a hospital. And it only went down to 38.5. So then we gave ibuprofen, and it stayed on 38.5 for well over an hour, and then it finally started going down. So now we're down to 37.7 last time we measured it, which is still high, but it's not worryingly high. It's coming down, and then when she can have more paracetamol, we're going to give some more paracetamol, which will be around 8 o'clock tonight. So actually quite soon. Yeah, because it's 20 minutes to 8 now. Yes, it is. And I'm also giving clobazam tonight as a matter of course, not because she has worrying seizures, but because we just don't want them to start up again. And I am giving melatonin. So between the paracetamol, the melatonin and the clobazam, she should hopefully be knocked out and do a good full night's sleep without any more fever and without anything else happening. And then we are going home tomorrow. How does that sound? Do you want to go home tomorrow? Do you want to stay here and play with the nurses? Do you want to go line dancing in Texas? Do you want to take an all-inclusive trip to the moon? Do you want a full 3-course meal because you're starting to get hungry? Do you want a mum who's not taking the piss? I'm getting 0 responses from her here now. She has been quite smiley and chatty today, haven't you? Yeah, and you've been very grumpy today. We've had big grumps. Yeah, you've been telling me that you're not happy about life. You did not like the fever, did you? You were not feeling well with that. I think she is tired. She's like, I don't want to be vlogging now, mummy. But, you know, we have managed this whole hospital stay with only the seizure medicines that we have available at home. So we've not had to have anything stronger. We have managed it without any oxygen. And she is on second full day, she's already on feeds. So I think she is doing unbelievably amazing. She's starting to get rattly now. We're hearing coughs and noises when she's breathing, and they're all upper airway. But of course she's been lying down for a long time, and there has been a lot of vomiting, and now there's a lot of saliva build up, so she's starting to get chesty. So between that and the fever, when she is finally seen by a doctor, they will start debating whether or not to put her on antibiotics. I just realized that I'm going to have to tell them very firmly that she does not need a chest x-ray because the night team are so efficient. The night team are all over their patients. They're like, right, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, or at least they're all over Elin. They're like super efficient. I think they're bored at night. The cafeteria is not open. And then the day team, we've not seen them today. Apart from very early this morning when, you know, I wasn't here, Dad was here, but, you know, they came in for a few minutes, right, we're going to start trying feeds and then you might go home. But the night team, they're on it. Usually, yeah. So if we get a very trigger-happy doctor on the night team, they're going to start going, oh, maybe we should x-ray her, maybe we should do this, maybe we should run this test, maybe we should do some blood tests. So I'm going to have to go, when she's asleep, nobody is setting a foot in here, okay? If I need you, I will call you. And apart from that, stay away. You've got other patients to look after, and Elin is no longer in danger. She is really only in tonight because of the fever, and leave us alone. What's that? That is nearing end of infusion. Shh. Don't need to listen to that. Okay. However, that means in just a moment a nurse is going to come in here and flush through the cannula. This is the last thing she's having intravenously. Where is that tube, by the way? So we're not lying on it or making any problems with it. This was a medicine called omeprazole, which is an antacid, and I asked for that to be given IV today because it is more efficient intravenously than it is in the tablet form that we dissolve and give it through her stomach. Yeah, so I asked that they gave her that. After this, she's not going to need the cannula anymore. They're going to have to de-access it tomorrow and do a heparin block inside it so it doesn't get blocked, which is all standard. Dad and I are waiting to be trained on that. We are going to get fully trained on Elin's port, how to access it, how to de-access it, and how to give medication and IV drips through it. We are basically going to be at a point where we can manage this at home. Thanks to the symptoms management team that we moved Elin over to, we're going to get all of that training because it's all about making sure that Elin's quality of life is as good as it can be, and it will always be better at home than in hospital. And obviously when she is like she's been for the last few days, she isn't safe to be home because we don't have IV drip at home. But soon we will. It'll take several more months before we're there, but we're heading that direction. So my medical mama credentials are going to get upgraded. Oh, baby girl, the day's not going as you wanted to, is it? Huh? No, it's not going according to plan. It is the next day. We didn't see any doctors last night, mostly because I said they weren't allowed in the room unless I called for them. She continued having a high temperature yesterday. It did go down overnight by having the fan on and keeping the room really cool and no covers on Elin. So it went down, but it's gone up again today, and she has started vomiting again. So she ain't going nowhere today. No, we were on track for a discharge, but a discharge is not gonna happen. No way, Jose. No, it's not, is it? It is not, is it? So she has just had some intravenous ondansetron, that's the antiemetic, and we are going to give her stomach a rest. We're not putting her back on IV fluids. She's going to take a break for a few hours and then start a fluid trial through her button again in a few hours. We're also going to swab her nose and look for viral infections and hope that whatever it is that's going on is viral. And she's going to get some saline drops for her nose as well because she is a bit sniffly. So that's where we are. Not quite the update I wanted to make. The update I wanted to make was to have Elin sitting up, being dressed and in her wheelchair and, waiting on discharge papers. But we're not getting that. We're not getting that. And I can't really show you any more of her because she's not allowed any clothes because she's too hot. Ay. You poor girl. We're getting the occasional smile, but all in all, she is not impressed with life at the moment. So we've been watching some Like It Hot, because why not have a little bit of Marilyn Monroe in the morning, right? I am hoping to get some lunch literally any minute now. I'm getting really rather hungry. And Elin's not going to have anything. No, apart from people sticking things up your nose. Are we going to stick things up this? But it's such a cute nose. It is such an adorable nose. Yes, is that smile? Is that a little smile? Hi. You've got such an adorable nose. She has got the cutest nose in the world. I was wearing clothes earlier today. I'm now in PJs again because those clothes need to go in the washing machine. She aims well. She aimed all over me. And then Dad is coming after lunch to relieve me so I can go home and shower. And then I need to go and pick up some cat food and possibly some human food as well. And then I have Alice overnight. So this is becoming a longer stay than we planned for. We're just going to have to wait and see how much longer now. Do you want to see your sister? Is Alice going to come in soon? Yeah, is she? And Daddy? Do we want daddies? I don't care about daddies, I just want Alice. Alright. Okay. Yeah. And I will update you guys with more when I know more, whenever that is.